So before we begin, inshallah, we're going to honor two students. We're going to take Mehmet. Cameraman, come here. Yeah. For being a good guy. Thank you. And where is the sister? Where? Yeah, the sister with the glasses. Yes. For asking good questions all the time. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Okay, so today, inshallah, we'll talk about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How many of you heard the Friday khutbah? Almost everyone. Because now is the month of Rabi' al-Awwal, and a lot of people commemorate the birth of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was born on a Monday, the 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal, and he actually died on the same day, a Monday, 63 years later, on Rabi' al-Awwal, the exact same day and the exact same date. Some scholars say, however, that he was born in Rajab, and some say he was born in Ramadan, but most of them say Rabi' al-Awwal. But the point is not when the Prophet ﷺ was born or when he died. The most important thing is what we learn from him and how to follow his example, because this is what matters. On Jum'ah, I shared some of the stories about the Prophet ﷺ to show how much we love him. And I gave the example, one example, that a lot of Muslims named their children after Muhammad ﷺ. How many Muhammads are in the house? Muhammad. Okay. How many Ahmad? How many Mustafa? Okay. Female names, Hamida, Hamida, all these names come from the name Muhammad. Mukhtar, any Mukhtar in here? Mukhtar, Mujtaba, because all these names resemble the name Muhammad in the sense that it means someone who is chosen, someone who is good, and so on and so forth. So I mentioned in the khutbah, how many people in the world have the name Muhammad in different spellings? Muhammad. Raise your hand if you know the answer. Okay. 1 million? No, a little bit more.
Oh, I
Okay. 1 million? 500,000.
What?
A little bit more.
3 million.
Yes, sister?
1,500,000.
No, a little bit more. Yes. 2.5 billion? No, a little bit less. Yes. 100 million? A little bit more. Yes. 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 Wallahi. 100? 100? No, more than 100. Yes. 1.5 million? No, a little bit more. Yes. 1.4? No. I'll give you the answer. That's a lot, 5,000. But the answer is over 150 million people. Over 150 million people are named Muhammad. It is the most common name in the world. The most common name in the world, Muhammad, in different spellings. If you go to the UK, and even in some other European cities, the name Muhammad is the #1 boy's name, the child name. The #1 name. Even in London, UK, ahead of John and Matthew. This shows you what? It shows you that Muslims love Muhammad ﷺ, because when you name your son or daughter after someone, it means that you love them, right? It's a sign of love. And in the khutbah I mentioned Muhammad al-Ashir, who is number 12 in the family with the name Muhammad. So his brother Muhammad, his nephew, his cousin, everyone is called Muhammad. They just go by the number. Muhammad the 7th and Muhammad the 10th. We love Muhammad ﷺ because of his humility. He was very humble. And he treated people with kindness. So, yes, he was a very important man. He was influential and everyone loved him. But he was one of the people. He was working with them. So when they were building the masjid in Medina, did he sit in the shade and say, you bring the bricks and you do this? And did he do that? What did he do? He was carrying the blocks with them, and he was... When they were digging the trench around Medina, what did he do? Did he order people around, or what did he do?
No.
Yes?
He helped a lot.
Yes, he was digging with them, he was carrying the rocks and the sand with them, and so on and so forth. So the Prophet ﷺ was one of the people. And also the example I mentioned in one of the talks here, when they were traveling together, and it is time to make food, someone would say, I'm going to prepare the goat. Someone would say, I'm going to barbecue the goat. And the Prophet ﷺ would say, I'm going to collect the firewood for you. They said, Ya Rasulullah, there are so many of us, we can take care of that. He said, no, I don't like people who sit in the shade and order people around like slave masters. And people work for them like slaves. I'm not your slave, your master, I'm your brother. So he was helping them and he was working with them. And he would sit on the floor. He would help in the house. The Prophet ﷺ had a good, large family, but he didn't order people around. He would clean the house. We know this from authentic hadith. The Prophet ﷺ would patch his own clothes. He would wash his own clothes. He would milk his own goat. He was a humble man, a very simple man. Although he had control over all of Arabia, that's a huge area of land with hundreds of thousands of people under him. But still he was working hard like everyone else. The Prophet ﷺ was a humble man. And sometimes someone would come to him and say something that was not nice. We know from authentic hadith that the Prophet ﷺ received some money or gold from Yemen, and the Prophet ﷺ was giving the money out, and someone just yelled at him and said, Taqillah, what is this? I didn't get like other people, what is this? And the Prophet ﷺ said, you know, if I don't have taqwa, who has taqwa? If I don't have it, who has it? That's it. And the Prophet ﷺ didn't do anything to the man, although he yelled at him in front of everyone. And the Prophet ﷺ was humble, and he showed respect to people. So this is something we can learn from the Prophet ﷺ, to be humble and to be respectful to everyone. Another thing, and I conclude with this inshallah, the Prophet ﷺ, he had a young son. His name was Ibrahim. He had 7 kids. 3 of them were boys, and all of them died in their childhood. So, Surah Inna A'tainaka al-Kawthar was revealed because there was a man, Al-As ibn Wa'il. He said that Muhammad has no boys, so once he dies, no one is going to remember his name. Khalas, he will be gone after 1 generation. So till this day, millions and millions of people name their kids after Muhammad ﷺ. Do you know anyone who is called Al-As ibn Wa'il? Anywhere, Al-As ibn Wa'il? Can you point on just one? Is anyone here called Al-As ibn Wa'il?
I know someone in, I think, Palestine that has that name.
Al-As ibn Wa'il?
Yes.
It doesn't exist.
Well, there is a name though.
Never. In history, 1500 years ago. But how many Muhammads? Many Muhammads. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honors the Prophet ﷺ. So what happened when Ibrahim alayhi salam passed away? You know, when there is a solar eclipse, so the sun is blocked, you see only a small piece, or if it is fully eclipsed, you can't see it. So this happened the exact same day that the son of the Prophet ﷺ passed away, Ibrahim. And the people said, well, the sky is sad, and you know, the sun is mad because Ibrahim, the son of the Prophet ﷺ, passed away, and this is why the eclipse happened. So the Prophet ﷺ gave a khutbah, and he said, no, it has nothing to do with my son. The sun and the moon are 2 natural signs of Allah. They don't eclipse for anyone's birth or death. When you see this, make salah. So this scientific approach to things, and it shows a lot of, I read an article in Reader's Digest. It was done like in the 1970s by a non-Muslim, and he said, this is what I like the most about Muhammad ﷺ, his honesty and his sincerity. Because someone else, if someone was claiming to be a prophet and something like this happened, his son died, there was an eclipse the same day, what do you think the person will do? Yeah, the sky is crying, the sun is crying because my son died, and this is why the eclipse happened. But the Prophet ﷺ said, no, it has nothing to do with my son, it's a natural sign. We'll continue in the future, inshallah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to shower His mercy and His grace on Muhammad ﷺ, and to give us His shafa'ah on the Day of Judgment, and to give us the opportunity to see Him in Jannah as we believe in Him in this dunya without seeing Him. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.